David moves like a shadow through the wilderness, every step calculated, every glance over his shoulder a reminder of the hunter he once called king. The cave of Adullam has become more than a refuge. It is the seat of a new power, a gathering of outcasts, warriors, and the broken who still dream of justice. His brothers, Elab and Joab, stand beside him, but it is the quiet loyalty of those who have nothing left to lose that fuels the growing fire of rebellion. Word of David's survival has already reached the ears of Saul, whose mind twists further into paranoia with every passing day. The Edomite connection through Ushbal is no longer a distant threat. It is an active hand in the corruption of Israel's future. The king's madness has reached a point where he no longer distinguishes between friend and foe, family and traitor, priest and rebel. Every order he gives, every command he whispers, carries the weight of death and the certainty of chaos. In the shadows of the wilderness, David begins to weave a network of trust that Saul can no longer touch. Former soldiers, men dishonored in battle, and families displaced by the king's wrath find their place in his camp. They bring with them not just weapons, but knowledge of Saul's movements, strategies, and weaknesses. David listens more than he speaks, his mind mapping the terrain of human loyalty like a general charting a battlefield, aware that the coming struggle is as much about hearts as it is about swords. Michal, torn between love and duty, becomes both his conscience and his connection to the outside world. Her letters, hidden beneath the stones of secret paths, carry intelligence about Saul's latest schemes, but also reminders of the cost of their survival. Each message is a heartbeat, each risk a test of faith, and each secret passage a thread in a tapestry of inevitability. Meanwhile, Saul's corruption deepens. The massacre of Nob has left a stain not just on his hands, but on the soul of the kingdom. Priests murdered, cities destroyed, the innocent punished, all in the name of a king who believes fear is loyalty and terror is law. Abner, once a commander who balanced honor with obedience, now moves in silent frustration, watching the kingdom he swore to protect disintegrate under Saul's obsession with David. His eyes see the cracks forming in the monarchy, the fractures in the royal family, and the slow erosion of power that David, in the wilderness, is quietly consolidating. Each day brings new reports of Ishbal's alliances with foreign kings, whispers of treaties that betray Israel's safety, and plans that seem designed to ignite civil war before David even takes the throne. Within the camp, David's leadership is tested in ways that no battlefield ever could. A man of courage must also be a man of patience, wisdom, and subtlety. Disputes flare over resources, trust is fragile, and old rivalries resurface as new followers question his authority. David navigates each conflict with precision, knowing that one mistake could unravel everything. Yet, in this crucible, bonds are forged stronger than steel. The men and women who follow him begin to see a king not as a title, but as a symbol of hope, a beacon in a world that has forgotten justice. Even the youngest warriors, once trembling in fear, now take pride in their allegiance, ready to fight for a future they have only glimpsed in David's vision. Outside the wilderness, the land feels the ripple effects of the rising storm. Tribes once loyal to Saul hesitate, unsure whether to follow a king descending into madness or to risk the unknown with a fugitive whose reputation grows with every whispered tale of courage. The Edomites, sensing weakness, maneuver to expand their influence while rival Philistine kings watch from the shadows, considering whether to exploit the instability or to ally with the emerging power of David. The kingdom itself is becoming a chessboard. each move deadly. Each decision shaping not just the present, but the inevitable transition of power that will redefine Israel. David's mind is never still. He recalls Samuel's prophecy, the vision of the crown passed from the hands of the corrupt to the hands of the righteous. That promise is a flame he protects, but he also knows that destiny is never delivered without sacrifice. As night falls over the wilderness, fires burn in scattered camps, casting long shadows over the faces of those who have pledged their lives to a man who is not yet king. Among them, David stands alone for a moment, feeling the weight of his choices, the enormity of the coming confrontation, and the fragility of the trust he has earned. Every heartbeat echoes the truth that the coming war will not just determine who rules Israel, but what kind of kingdom it will be. The wilderness becomes a kingdom of whispers, each word a seed of power, each secret a weapon sharper than any sword. David's followers, a motley band of the desperate and the devoted, begin to transform under his leadership. They are no longer fugitives. They are a force. Yet, the real challenge lies not in assembling men, but in shaping their loyalty. For loyalty in a world ruled by fear is a fragile, fleeting thing. Every story David hears of betrayal, every encounter with someone whose life was broken by Saul's madness, hardens his resolve. He knows the crown he is destined to wear will not fall into his lap. It must be earned in fire, blood, and strategy. Michal's absence from his side weighs heavily. Her allegiance, though true, is trapped within a family ruled by fear and manipulation. Her sister Miab's lies linger like poison in the camp's quiet moments, reminding David that the human heart can be as treacherous as any battlefield. Yet, even through this tension, the bond between them remains unbroken in memory and in longing, fueling David's determination. Each night, he pictures her face, her courage, and the quiet strength that first made him see her as a partner in his destiny. That vision becomes both shield and sword, motivating him to act with cunning rather than brute force, patience rather than impulsive anger. Saul, meanwhile, spirals deeper into chaos. The Edomite Doeg and Ishbaal continue to execute the king's twisted will, while Saul himself drifts into madness marked by paranoia and hallucinations. The vision Samuel forced upon him, the crown in David's hands, Israel's future slipping from his grasp, haunts him like a relentless storm. He lashes out at anyone who questions his orders, yet every act of cruelty only strengthens David's legitimacy. The kingdom's priests whisper among themselves, torn between fear and duty, wondering if they will be punished for failing the king, or for secretly hoping David might succeed where Saul has failed. The tension in the palace grows like a rope fraying under weight, and every whispered secret becomes a spark in the tinderbox that is Israel. In the wilderness, David's strategies take on a new sophistication. Scouts return with news of patrols, supply lines, and potential allies. David maps each movement with precision, planning raids not for slaughter but for survival and influence. He begins to send envoys to the Philistine kings, testing the waters of alliance, aware that even enemies may become allies if it serves the greater purpose. The delicate balance of power is shifting, and David is the unseen hand tipping the scales. Each night he gathers his followers around the fire, telling stories not of glory but of purpose, of the justice they fight to reclaim, and of the king they are yet to crown. The fires reflect in the eyes of men who have known only fear, and slowly the glimmer of hope begins to burn brighter than the shadows of despair. But the world outside is not idle. Reports arrive of Saul moving through villages with wrath unmatched, punishing anyone suspected of aiding David. Cities like Gibeah and neighboring towns tremble under the king's unpredictable rule, while families who once whispered their loyalty now hesitate, calculating the cost of betrayal versus survival. Abner, the commander caught between honor and obedience, maneuvers cautiously, secretly observing David's rise, yet constrained by his oath to Saul. The internal politics of the palace become a game of survival for those with conscience and courage. Abner's subtle influence begins to ripple through the ranks, planting seeds of dissent among those who serve a king increasingly incapable of discernment. David's own family, drawn into his orbit, adds layers of complexity. His brothers, once skeptical, now understand the magnitude of the moment. Eliab struggles with the fear of failure, while Joab's ambition grows alongside his loyalty, foreshadowing the internal conflicts that will test even the closest bonds. Together, they become the pillars of a growing rebellion, yet David knows that even the strongest bonds are tested by necessity. Every decision carries consequences, and every act of mercy or ruthlessness shapes the story that will be told long after the dust of battle settles. Meanwhile, the external world mirrors the internal tension. Philistine kings, sensing opportunity in Israel's instability, plot against each other as much as they consider David's arrival. Eshbal's maneuvering with the Edomites injects a volatile element, threatening not just Israel's internal balance, but the broader geopolitical stability. David understands that victory will not come merely through combat, but through intelligence, negotiation, and the careful orchestration of trust. Every alliance he considers is a gamble. Every enemy he turns into a reluctant friend is a victory of strategy as much as of courage. Even in the quiet moments, the sense of impending confrontation looms. Nightly fires in the wilderness illuminate David's contemplative face, reflecting a leader aware of destiny but burdened by its cost. The weight of prophecy, loyalty, and vengeance presses upon him, shaping the man he must become. The theory that has begun to circulate in whispers, that David's rise will not just reclaim the throne, but reshape the kingdom's very soul, is becoming reality. As the shadows lengthen and the night deepens, the stage is set. The convergence of ambition, madness, loyalty, and destiny will soon erupt in ways that will leave no corner of Israel untouched. The kingdom trembles under Saul's shadow, but in the wilderness, a new power is quietly taking shape. David is no longer merely a fugitive. He is a symbol. Every day brings new followers, drawn by the whispers of a just leader who will rise where tyranny has failed. These men and women are not soldiers of convenience. They are people who have been broken by fear, betrayal, or injustice. And in David, they see a chance for redemption. Each face tells a story. Each scar is a testament to the cruelty they have endured. And David treats every encounter as a lesson in loyalty and leadership. He teaches patience, strategy, and the understanding that victory is born from foresight as much as from strength.